USC has the number one ranked 24/7 class right now. And usually I take the team rankings with a grain of salt, especially this early in the process, because this just means they have a lot of commitments. But when you actually watch the type of players USC's bringing in, at least me, of course I'm a bit biased to certain types of players. I'm not biased towards programs, but there's certain players I like. USC offensively, between Mark Bowman, the quarterback, Jonas Williams. I think Jonah Williams absolutely loved the quarterback in this class. Bowman, absolutely love him, not just as a tight end, but just as a pass catcher. And then Booby Feaster, if he ends up committing, that's another guy that King Cold's very high on, so that I'm very high on. And Redeaux, I've already watched him like 2 or 3 times, just haven't recorded my reaction, haven't really put my thoughts out there. This kid's pretty good. I'm very close to putting him as my best running back in the 2026 class. I'm going to have to watch like some names that people have over him right now. But after watching right now, 5'10", 195, Oaks Christian, California, I'll let the tape roll a little bit. Legit track speed, 10.41. I get excited about track speed, but there's not that many plays in college football where you actually have to run 100 meters. In high school, it shows up because these kids are so good, and you'll see on kick returns and all that. But the bulk of the game for running backs is played within 10 yards. If you can get past 10 yards, past 15 yards, then the track speed kicks in, and then that's where it matters. But if you have a guy that's just going to run in a straight line, it won't always translate to success at running back. This guy, very explosive. The first 10 yards are just as fast as the last 10 yards. Maybe that's not true, but very explosive for sure. Like you'll see. It doesn't take that long for him to get going. When we watch these 10-4 type athletes, you don't see 195. That's really what puts Redeaux over the top for me. That's what really makes me like him, is that he's already physically developed. Not to say there's not development that can't be done physically. But you take a look at this kid's upper body, it's already developed. And, when I first saw his frame, I saw a picture of him, or I started the highlight tape before actually checking the 100 meters. I was like, wow, this kid's going to be a really good power back just by the way he looks. Not the case. That's not to say that he's not powerful. He might have some issues running with kind of a high pad level, but nothing that's really that concerning. But, when I first saw him versus when I first saw him run, I could not believe, because that's not what I was expecting. Very explosive. The change of direction is really good too. I'll wait to comment on that till we see a play that shows his change of direction ability. Won't say it's at the top level. Like the thing that might put a Javion Osborne or Savion Hitter over this kid for me is their ability to just string those cuts together. I don't really think that's what Redeaux is, but at 10.41 with the weight that he carries, it puts him in a very, very unique realm, I think, of prospects. And I totally would understand people saying this is the best running back of the 2026 class. I have to think about it a bit more before I say that, but I'm pretty close. I'll let the tape run a little bit and see if there's anything else I want to really comment about his game, but you see stuff like this, very sudden. People say elusive a lot. I try to highlight more of the athletic, what that means athletically. I don't really know what elusiveness means athletically, but you would call this elusive, I think. Has an understanding of tackling angles and how to attack that, I think. Shit, man, I was saying he can't string multiple cuts together. He's kind of proving me wrong here. Look at this. God damn. All right, here's the thing. This is the best play on the highlight tape, by the way, in case you didn't know. 100 meter, great. Doesn't show up very often in high school, in college. Will show up, won't that much. Look at this. Makes 4 or 5 people miss. That was all athleticism. That was just pure change of direction, pure agility. All right, I've seen that before. Tredarian Bell, we'll go watch Tredarian Bell. He could do that. A lot of players in this country could do that. Maybe like 10% of them, 10% of college prospects. But what really makes it in my head, Redeaux, what makes Redeaux different is this right here. Finishing the run after all that, to have the energy. It's only 7 yards, but it's a big 7 yards, and very well-rounded back. when you hear me say well-rounded, sometimes that's kind of code. I'm just gonna tell you guys when you're watching other tapes, it's code that I can't think of a lot of good things to say. Because there might not be a trait or two that really stands out when I say that, but not the case with this kid. I think he's rare athlete with not a rare frame, but for him to move the way he does at 195, I think he carries 195 really well. So I'm very high on this on Redeaux. You guys let me know what you think, if there's anything I'm missing. I'm still forming my opinion on him. But early, I could say it's pretty good. We'll watch his senior year of film, and then you might see me say this kid's the best running back in the country, but we'll wait. It's a while till then. I kind of don't want to shut it off because I'm having a lot of fun watching him, but yeah, anybody else in this 2026 class you guys want me to watch? I've done a good deal of USC's class on the offensive side of the ball, but I don't really... I know I've watched Sean Scott, who's still committed to them, I think. I'm sure there's a decent amount of USC defensive players I've watched, but Mark Bowman's certainly out there, Bowie Feaster, Jonah Williams, all out there if you guys want. That's something you're interested in. Anything else, any other concerns you guys have about Redeaux here? Anything else maybe underrated, but we'll watch one more play. You guys let me know. Thanks for watching, and I appreciate it.